What if I told you that while peasants slept side by side with their families and animals in the cramped huts of medieval Europe, there was always one person outside who was forbidden to rest, an ominous figure whose very duty was to stay awake while the world went dark? Before I reveal why entire villages relied on this sleepless guardian, hit that subscribe button right now, because the secrets of medieval life we uncover here are the kind you'll never hear in school. Drop a comment below with what you think the Night Watcher really did. Was he a protector, a spy, or something much darker? And don't forget to like this video so that the truth about hidden history doesn't get buried again. It is the year 1375. The village is silent, wrapped in mist. Altar roofs glisten with dew. The only sound is the faint bleating of sheep penned beside homes. Families are bundled together in one-room huts, asleep by the glow of dying embers. Children lie pressed between parents and livestock, their breath mixing with the smoke of smoldering wood. Yet outside, on the crooked lanes, someone is awake. A cloaked figure walks slowly with a lantern and a staff, striking the ground with rhythmic knocks. He whispers a chant to remind villagers that time still moves, that the night is being watched. He is not allowed to sleep, not even to doze. His eyes must scan the shadows for fires, thieves, wolves, or enemies who come when no one else can see. This figure was called the Night Watcher. On the surface, the role was practical. Medieval villages were tinderboxes. Huts made of wood and straw could erupt into flames from a single spark. Bandits preyed on peasants. Wolves, bears, and even rival lord soldiers could descend under the cover of darkness. The Night Watcher was there to prevent disaster. But if you stop here, you miss the deeper truth. Because the more you look into historical records, the more you find that this wasn't just about protection, it was also about control. Chronicles from London, Lubeck, and Prague mentioned watchmen who not only guarded the streets, but also reported suspicious behavior to priests or lords. Imagine waking at midnight to relieve yourself outside, only to find a silent figure watching. His presence was safety, but also surveillance. You were never truly alone, even in your most private moments. Let's go deeper. Parish records from the 14th century. There are chilling instructions. The watcher shall pace the lanes and hear the sins whispered in darkness. Think about that. This was not simply about keeping fires at bay. The Night Watcher was tasked with listening, reporting, and ensuring that villagers could never conspire against their masters. It makes sense when you realize that in an age of heresy trials, peasant revolts, and secret gatherings, darkness was the only time for forbidden words. But the Night Watcher's presence ensured even whispers could be overheard. Archaeological evidence adds another layer. In some abandoned medieval villages, bells have been discovered near central posts, thought to have been rung at midnight, not just to mark time, but to reassure the people that the watcher was still awake. No bell rang, panic spread. Fires, raids, or even supernatural forces were believed to descend on an unguarded village. The Night Watcher wasn't just a human guard. He was a ritual presence. His wakefulness became a superstition in itself, a shield against the terrors of night. But here's where it turns darker. Some accounts claim that being the Night Watcher was not an honor, it was a punishment. In Bohemian records, the position was sometimes forced upon criminals or debtors who were condemned to walk the night endlessly. They weren't allowed to rest, for rest was luxury. Staying awake became torment. Think about the human cost. Nights in Northern Europe could stretch to 16 hours of darkness in winter. A watcher would pace, freezing, starving, alone, while the rest of the village slept. Sleep deprivation drove men mad. Some saw visions. Some claimed to hear voices. One record from Lubeck tells of a watcher who wrote, "Figures with burning eyes follow me in the fog." Weeks later, he disappeared. His replacement confessed in a log, "I hear the same whispers." Later versions of this manuscript were edited. The testimonies quietly erased. Why censor such accounts unless they revealed something authorities didn't want remembered? And the deeper you dig, the more sinister the role appears. The night watcher wasn't only a guard against thieves and wolves. He was an extension of authority, silent warning that no one, not even the poorest peasant, was free from observation. Even in the dead of night, under the illusion of privacy, someone was awake watching, listening, recording. Historians believe this practice was especially enforced in areas where heresy was feared, where revolts brewed, or where rival lords plotted. In other words, the watcher's presence wasn't about safety at all. It was about control, about crushing freedom before it could spark. But here's something more unsettling. Folk beliefs surrounding the watcher suggest he himself was feared. Villagers whispered that staying awake too long brought curses, that watchers went mad, became half human, half shadow. In certain tales, a watcher who survived too many winters without sleep was thought to become part of the night itself. Children were warned not to speak to him, for he was neither man nor ghost. Could this be simple superstition? Or was it the psychological toll of endless nights without rest, twisted into folklore? The presence of the night watcher even influenced architecture. Narrow lanes in medieval towns were designed to amplify the sound of a staff hitting stone, so that one man's footsteps could echo across an entire block. The knock, knock, knock on cobblestones wasn't just noise. Said was a reminder. Someone is awake and he is watching. So, was the night watcher a hero or a curse? Both answers may be true. He was a shield against wolves and fire, yes, but he was also a chain around the freedom of the people, ensuring no thought, no whisper, no meeting could escape the eye of power. And here, as the most chilling thought of all, the role of the night watcher didn't disappear. It evolved. Today, cameras watch our streets, satellites track our movement, algorithms record our searches. In the Middle Ages, a single man stayed awake so no village could act unseen. Entire systems do it without ever needing to sleep. So ask yourself this: what if every time you close your eyes, someone or something is still awake, still recording, still reporting? What if the idea of the sleepless watcher never left us, but only changed his face? The night watcher of medieval Europe may be long gone, but the truth is this: in the Middle Ages, even in sleep, you were never safe, and maybe still aren't. Subscribe now, because the stories they don't teach in school are the ones that matter most. And comment below. Would you have felt safer knowing someone was watching through the night tour, more afraid that you were never truly alone?